could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever wanted. Hopes and dreams, every boy. You can fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You can have all you ever wanted. You know you could.
Good morning. Welcome to another Rain Columbia presentation of Coffee Time Live. Told you, didn't I? So, today, here's the weather. If you notice, we got low-hanging clouds. It rained last night, or more early this morning, and got massive overcast. It shows a little blue sky, but I can't see it from here. Okay. So that's the weather. 74 degrees maybe. We did have I'd say, kind of a mini heat wave last week, or this past week. Had a few days, was pretty warm, and I actually had to turn the fans on at night because it was, it wasn't hot, but I like it cool when I sleep. So you're going to get that once in a while. So today, it's all about food porn. I got a couple little articles I'm going to mention, and then we're going to get into food. Again, prompted by, I got an email, I got a couple messages, and I got a what's up, all within 2 days, asking about food. Why do I say the food sucks? And why do I, you say you know where to eat. Well, where is that? Why is it a secret? Why? Yeah. So I'm going to talk about food in Colombia. But first, well, let's see. First, we're going to look at the chat here. We started off this morning with Juka. Thank you very much. Contribution. This, I think, maybe is George. Thank you. Good morning, Rob from Fort Lauderdale. Good morning. How you doing? You got to tell me how your trip went with all your guests, first timers to Colombia, his workmates. Jerry, Jerry, I got a message. I'm not sure when it was sent, but I didn't see it till yesterday afternoon. That he said the reason he made no comments during coffee time is he was taken to the hospital. He says he's doing fine. It was more of a scare, but yeah, don't do that. Wishing you well. And in case you didn't notice, I've got the slow chat. So if you put something in the chat, it's going to be a little bit of time before you can enter something again. Try to put it all at once if it's important. Juka, greetings from Finland. Buenos dias, NB90. Turtle, how you doing? Jesus, he sent me his x-rays of his leg that he hurt, and it's about as bad as I've seen. It was pretty gruesome. Mike Jarvis, how you doing? Good morning. Yeah, I was out your way, but by the time you responded, I was long gone. I was pressed for time as it was. Your building, to those who don't know, he lives in Pueblo Tapao, and the building he's in has kind of an overlook on the ground floor, and between the buildings that are there. And I was taking some people to actually, well, for another reason, we had to go through Pueblo Tapao, and using that as an overlook to say, look at this beautiful view. Dennis, good morning. How you doing from Paraguay? Pullman. Pullman, I ran into as I was looking for the food, I'm looking through old clips, and I forgot that you were in our pizza taste test. You were out of sight of the camera, and I go, that voice sounds familiar. And I scrolled through, and you had leaned forward, and I said, oh, there you are. I forgot all about that. Good morning. Time flies. That was quite a while ago. Agua Chica, how you doing? Ben Lake, AKA, good morning. How you doing? Okay. And to everybody else who's out there, but you're shy, don't be shy. If you feel like commenting, feel free to comment. Okay. Two little articles. There was a bunch of them. They're mostly like police blotter. Quickly, there's been an investigation for the past year of a budding and growing little crime syndicate in Letabaida in Armenia. And yesterday there was a big takedown. They hit them all at once. There were 15 of them, so it's not like it was this big crew, but they collected a bunch of drugs, like a kilo of coke and a couple kilos of weed and a couple firearms and some money, and so they took them all down. They parade them out for shots. They turn their back to the camera, and the police are facing the cameras. This is a traditional shot, and then they take the photograph of that. Then I don't know why they don't show their faces. You'd think it'd almost be the other way around, but that's the way they do it here. So there was that, and there was a crime-related murder. The only murders that really happen here are in these barrios where there's crime amongst themselves, and every so often they'll kill each other. It's far from where I live, but there was a murder a while back, and they were advertising they caught the guy and had his back to the camera. So there was that. It was kind of, I don't know, not very exciting. Well, this isn't very exciting, but I think it's interesting news. We've got coffee production in Quindío is going to fall between 15 and 20% for the second quarter of 2023. That's primarily due to the weather that we had, a lot of rain, and it just kind of tapers off. So coffee, basically the price just goes up. And this I found very interesting. With a great variety of color and sizes, the species cited in Quindío is increasing. Now, they don't just mean the number of animals, but some animals that have disappeared from Quindío have returned. There are, I think, 6 or 7 that hadn't been seen in years have been spotted. And then you also have, let's see, 2 of these that are on the screen right now, the squirrel and that little cat there. They've been missing for a long time. And then you've got, let's see, these are new species never before recorded. Right here in Quindío, I mean, I thought that time was long over. I mean, maybe in a place like the Amazon or something, but these 2 little frogs, I guess, and this very pretty bird, kind of a turquoise, never been recorded. No record of these. They've now been recorded, and it's right here in Quindío. So I guess if you're one of these bird or animal watchers or whatever, maybe you too will discover. As a matter of fact, someone who operates under his AK sent me a photograph of this huge greenery, and something about, it was like a Where's Waldo? Can you spot the little bird or something? So, I just kind of blew it up, and well, there it was. But it looked like it was grainy because I had to blow it up, and it looked like this red-breasted robin kind of thing. Well, one of the birds that that I was looking at that hadn't been here in decades, but has returned. It's being spotted. It's been spotted in several places. Looks exactly like that bird he had in his camera. It looks like a red-breasted robin, and so you might have got a shot of that as these things have been returning. Okay, so let's get to the food porn. This is the way I'm going to do it today. I've got it broken into 3 categories. I've got your typical food, traditional Colombian food, and then I've got, I'm calling it international food, you know, Italian or tacos or things like that. And then some food that I make at home. And at the end, I'll do a list of some of my favorite restaurants. And I was going through this list. I didn't want to have that list go on forever. So I didn't want it to even get over a minute. So I cut it. It's like 45 seconds or something. But as I sat and was thinking about it, there's a lot of places that are quite good. It's just that it's so easy to go into a place that kind of sucks. So I don't, because I learned where the good ones were. So I'll share some of that with you. And so as I show this category, the first one will be typical. I'm going to show you like a minute or so, some clips. And some of these are not recent. Maybe I visited a restaurant for lunch 2 years ago or something. So these aren't timely, although a few are. And then I'm going to talk about them a little bit. As you see the little clips, if you have any questions, kind of make yourself a little note, and we'll answer it as I go along. And then I'll go back and I'll kind of scroll through what you had just seen and maybe talk about, you know, the dish or whatever. And so that's the way I'm going to do it. So I'll lead up into each of the 3 categories with a minute or so little clip, and then I'll talk about it. So the first one is your typical Colombian food. Okay, so let me go back here, and we're gonna scroll a little bit. Let's see. Come on. All right. This restaurant is El Roble, and it's outside of town. It's been around since 1972, I think. Started by a couple, and it's grown. It's been very popular. And this plate here is the famous or infamous bandeja paisa. uh, all over this part of Colombia, from Medellin to here and beyond. You can get it pretty much almost anywhere in Colombia now, but it was a dish that was in the area from Armenia to Medellin primarily, the center of Colombia originally. And it's got beans. And one thing about that restaurant is they actually use ham hocks to make the beans, where most restaurants I've noticed around here don't. So you got beans in the middle. Underneath the egg, you got rice. You've got a chorizo. That one was killer. And you got ground beef. And the idea is you mix the ground beef and the rice and the beans. You kind of mix them together. And when you do that, if you add a little spice, it'd be almost like a chili. And then the curly thing chopped up is chorizo, which is pork skin. Well, it's pork belly basically, and it's fried. And of course, avocado and a maduro or a plantain. Very. Oh, the reason I was putting my hand there is this plate was huge, and you kind of lose perspective in a photo. So I stuck my finger there, so maybe you get some sense of how I couldn't even eat half of this plate. That was mine, and it was just really filling. How much does this cost? It kind of depends. Typically, I would say anywhere from 25 to 45,000 pesos. This is not your cheap almuerzo kind of thing. This is a menu item, and there's a lot of components to it, so it's not going to be the cheapest, but it's not the most expensive. This was kind of up there, but I swear, without skimping, this plate big enough to feed 3 people. It was pretty massive. All right, let's get on here. These are ribs, and I took a bite out of it, and I said, "Oh, I should take a picture of that." These are ribs the way they're done around here, except most of the ribs you get around here are more U.S. style, slow cooked, usually with a barbecue sauce or maybe barbecue sauce choices on the side, falls off the bone. That's the way they're generally done around here. But this is essentially ribs that are thrown in a deep fryer, and that's the way they've been here. That's more traditional. The big yellow thing underneath is a fried plantain. They kind of flatten it out. And that's a mushroom soup. That's a chuleta. And that is a frijole, a consuelo. It's basically a bean casserole. And it'll come with different things that you can put on top of it. This has chicharron. I'm not sure what else. Looks like some beef chunks, different things. So you put it on top and you eat it that way. I think it's Robert's favorite dish. Robert, I always finish my bandeja paisa. I don't think you would have finished this one. I'm telling you, this thing was massive. It was not only a huge plate, but it was piled, I would say, 4 inches high from the table. It was just huge. All right, this does not look very appetizing. It wasn't bad. This was a couple years ago. I was coming back from Pereira and stopped for lunch at one of these little roadside places. Didn't taste bad. They didn't put anything into the presentation. But this is a version of sancocho. Basically, it's just a soup, and it can come with beef or chicken, or it can be made up. It's very flexible how it can be made up. Let's see. This is that place that for chorizos down in the south part of Armenia. I've done a few videos talking about it. Love that place. All right, this doesn't look like much, but it's right near here, and they've got a breakfast menu, and you can get your eggs done, I think, 14 different ways. I just went for the basic. This is scrambled eggs with chives. Was quite tasty, actually, with fresh squeezed orange juice. They've got this killer machine. I don't even know how to describe it. I should have taken a picture of it. But they use sweet oranges for this, so it's really, really great orange juice. And here, this is at one of my places, Toto Chuleta. These were some guests. The one straight ahead and the one to the left, they're from Bogota, actually. And the dish on the left is called sudao. And it's slow roasted. It'll have a piece of yuca, a potato, a plantain, all slow roasted in this amazing sauce. And it'll have roast beef, and you might get it with pork or chicken. But typically, this is a Candian dish, and it's wrapped in banana. But this is one of my favorite foods. Not just typical, but I love it. The way they make it, the sauce, it's really tasty. What was in front of me there was just a mushroom soup. Across the way, you can't really see it. When I took this little video clip, it wasn't for that purpose. I think it was just almuerzo. And then we had a beef. This, you'd think it was nothing, but they go crazy on their blenders, and kind of like milkshakes, but they'll do it with fruit, batito. They'll do it like with fruit or ice cream, or it's a big thing to have cold drinks. This was just a shot of it. Oh, I'm lost for words here. All right, let's go on to the quick look at the chats here. And let's see, what does a dish like this cost? Gil, good morning, Northern California. How you doing? Some kind of dirty rice, kind of, if you make it up that way. Yeah, I always finish my bandeja paisa, and I don't need food for a week. Yeah, depending on where you get it, that's true. I know of a couple places where they're killer, but I've also ordered in a number of places where they really sucked. It's like, you own a restaurant, you put that thing out, you should be embarrassed, kind of thing. Okay. I'm not sure what that means, but let's go on to the next. We'll get the international. Okay. Rated Exito. Yeah, there you go. No need to address this now. Contact me. Not able to stay online for long. Address what? Send me an email. Charles, thank you. I appreciate the contribution. It was you. Okay. Libby, good morning from Cuenca. How you doing? You missed Colombia yet? All right. So now let's see if I can walk through this one. Hopefully this is working and I got the music off. Okay, this is a shot from where I was sitting. This is Bianco Osteria. It's an Italian restaurant near Supermercado Mercado Reales, near the Portal del Condillo Mall. And this was one of the dishes of 2 pieces of filet. And this was Alfredo pasta. They make the noodles themselves. They make the pasta. They make the spaghetti. All of that stuff, all sauces, they make in-house. And everything I've ever had there is really, really good. Same place, different time. To the right, which is my absolute favorite, is their version of Osabuco. And it's like the ankle slow cooked in this sauce. And the bowl in front, that white, is actually a potato puree. I'm having trouble speaking today. And the sauce of this is so freaking amazing. I just can't get enough of it. It is so delicious. It's nice mango salad. And over here to the left center is spaghetti and meatballs. Again, all homemade. Mine's better, but love this place. Now, there was me having it once. This is a chain. It's all over Colombia, Sarku. It's their version of Japanese. The sushi, it's kind of like getting sushi at a supermarket in the United States. It's not horrible. It's not great. It's not real sushi, but it's, you know, it's good. And this had some tempura. Ugh. Is that some kind of medical affliction when you can't get your words out? And this was some pasta with chicken teriyaki. Let's see. This, some of you, I'm sure, have heard me talk about it. This is Eggs Benedict, and it's the best I've ever had. If you notice that sauce, it's not broken. I've never gotten it there with the sauce broken. It tastes exactly the way it should be. If you went to the finest restaurant, this is what it tastes like. It's my favorite breakfast place. I hardly ever hit it up. It's the other Bianco. It's the bakery Bianco. This is on Centenario, so it's a different location. I do think it's, from what I understand, it's the same family. And you can go in there and get sourdough bread, and you can get all kinds of pastries and cakes and cheesecakes and all that kind of goodies. But they've got a great little restaurant. It's a limited menu. They also have lunch. This was a roast beef sandwich I got, I don't know, ages ago. And so what do they call that? Ciabatta, but all made in house. This is the same place, something different, but I ordered it with that same sauce. And of course, you got wings and onion rings, and all that kind of pub food is here and available. That was kind of a mushroom steak. I don't even remember their name for it. And there was fish. They call it international because that's the way it was done up. It wasn't done traditionally. This is right down the road. This was a few weeks back. I tried a hamburger at this place. It was too much, actually, but it was good. This is at the BBC in Manizales. And the one in the front here is fried chicken. The one on the right, I think that was a fish. That's a steak. And this is at the container city here in Armenia, where a bunch of us just got together and ordered various things. Most of it is more like pub food. This is a shot of La Fogata. It's a restaurant that's been here in Armenia for 50 some years. And you can get really, really good steaks there. The restaurant is not cheap, kind of pricey. Like their best steak will probably run you 20 some dollars. But you can get a variety of steaks. Argentina, I think they still have Colombian, a couple other countries, and you can usually get US. Although this past year, getting meat out of the US has been very problematic, mostly on the side of the US. They're just not sending it. I don't remember exactly what this was. This was also at the BBC in Manizales. This is right down the street. This was last week. Pouring me a ice cold mug of a artisanal beer. It was, I don't remember exactly what it was called. It was like a honey beer. It was very tasty. It was very good. And I got tacos there. This was a shot of the corner of this place where I got the tacos. So let's turn that off. Let me look over the comments again, then we'll hit the last one. Let's see. I do miss Colombia. I'm sure you do. I'm here live, first time. Glad to be here. Shoot me an email. I've been busy as hell, but as of now, I've got most of this week coming up free. And I know there's a couple people wanting to get together. One, I tried to get them. I had a free day, but it happened to be a day that they weren't free. There's a guy in the building next door. He's asked a couple times. We need to get together this week because I've got some time this week. Sometimes I just get really busy. That's why you got this naked wall. I was hoping to get that done last night, but I ended up getting lost in all these video clips and photos, trying to put it together for today. I kept trying to find, there's some I just couldn't find. I don't know what I did with them. There's just so many. And we got Libby and Cuenca, cloudy, rainy, cold here, but I think it's rainy everywhere, even in Colombia. The production of coffee is down, too much rain. What a shame. Now the price of coffee may go up, probably. That was the La Nina rain that was all over. But, we're finished with that. Now we're just getting the normal amount of rain. Tarku, Japan is also in North America. Oh, I didn't know that. Charles, don't really eat out much here. Can't. Ontario? I can't. It's grayed out. You'd have to see on this side. Let me see if I can. Real small. Do domicilio or get from local. Love all the soups. Go to Covanas. Love seafood there. Have Colombian girlfriend who rather cook. Best food is at home. I don't know. Some of the stuff I'm showing you is all really good, or I wouldn't have bothered showing you. That looks good. Yeah, it was good. Travel guy. Good morning from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Renee. All Colombian owned places. Uh, yeah. I mean, there's a few businesses here that are foreign owned, but they're pretty scarce actually. Yeah, it's Colombian owned businesses, but it's a good point. You say, well, how do they know to cook? You have a lot of Colombians that have visited other countries, maybe live there for a while, and then they'll come back. Maybe their dream is to open a restaurant, but they return and maybe they spent 20 years in Italy and they fell in love with Italian food, and maybe they come back and want to introduce that, to the culture. There was another Italian restaurant. I absolutely loved it and went out of business with COVID. It was killer, but this Bianco's is amazing. Is also amazing. Texas Stater, hello from Texas. How you doing? Rumpel, I'll email you. I'm live on channel for the first. Right, yeah. I'm in Cali, but don't get to Armenia until the 17th of July. All right, well, we'll get together then for sure. All right. Really good Korean in Medellin. Yeah, Medellin has all the bases covered. Armenia does pretty well. I certainly wish there was a broader selection, but Manizales kills it. You go to Milan in Manizales, that entire area, it's just one after another after another. And these are not these are big, beautiful places with food really well done. Water. Okay, last one. Rub it in, Rob. Rub it in. I talked about that. If you're actually watching the videos, you would know. No, I've got to change it up, and it took me a week to figure out what I want to do, and now I know what I want to do. But I don't know if you can see right here, this line. That's actually bright light here live. You look at it and it's bright green and red, and I can put it to whatever color, but I bet you probably didn't even notice it. So what I was originally going to do just wasn't working, but now I've got something in my head I think is going to work well. And but I've got to see if I can get some kind of shelf for part of it, and then I can lay everything out and get it put up. I'm also contemplating a black background and then have everything on that. I think I see these people that do black backgrounds with some, lighting behind. When I see I find it very interesting. I look at those things and it's kind of interesting. So I'm thinking along those lines, but it takes time, and it wasn't my priority. I mean, I just didn't have much time this week. All right, so let me get to this. Boom. All right. Now, what's with the pizza? I like to make pizza once in a while. I haven't made one in probably 2 or 3 months. I don't make them that often, but I really enjoy it when I do. This was actually a Sicilian, changed it up. This, I had made homemade pasta in forever. And this was maybe a year and a half ago. I put my hand to it again, and it came out really good. I was pretty pleased. These clear plates I have, they're actually a lot smaller than a dinner plate. So whenever you have things on there, they're probably going to look massive. They're the size between a regular dinner plate and the little saucer you get for coffee. It's like an in-between size. These are ribs that I made, and that's me eating them. This was just the typical I make every once in a while. There's nothing special about it, but it was a sauce, and I actually made this video clip, a friend to send them the clip of it, but I threw it in there. It's just your little bitty chicken thighs. This was a U.S. ribeye, was amazing, with some shrimp in that little bowl. And this was another ribeye. It's not like I'm having both of these were, let's see, this was in the 360 building. And looking at the furniture and stuff, this had to have been about 3 years ago. This was maybe 2.5 years ago. This was in the house that I just left recently. I made homemade chorizo. So I stuffed them. It took me a while to find the casings because I hadn't got them before. They're actually easy to find once you know. But I ground up the pork, and I did the spice and the vinegar and all the things that you do. And I made the chorizos. You let them hang and dry for a little while. And that was a turkey I talked about the other day. It was awesome. And, so the moral of that story is, if you're not finding what you want, just make it. Just cook it. No fish on the menu. One of the downsides of living in Colombia is my favorite seafoods are not available. Can't get king crab, although I can't afford it anyway, but I can't get it. 4 years ago, I saw it in PriceSmart a couple times, but I haven't seen it since. I don't go that often, but I haven't seen it since. But my favorite fish is haddock, and a close runner-up will be cod, but haddock is my absolute favorite fish. Not available. Can't get it. And, I say, well, you can get everything. Well, everything except haddock. Yeah, I don't, I mean, I could buy it, have it shipped in. That's more expensive. I don't have the luxury of doing that. If I did, I would maybe get some haddock sometime. So I miss that. So I don't mention fish because there's not the fish that's here. I mean, it's okay. I have it once in a while. And depending on where you go, the traditional way they do fish is they take the entire fish and they throw it in a deep fryer. It's not my favorite. I mean, I don't mind fried things. They can be tasty. But I actually prefer like that fish if it was cut up and cooked nicely and with a nice sauce, and I would prefer it that way. And so I'm just not a fan of getting a whole fried fish all that often. I do occasionally. I'm not a fan of a lot of local foods, but I showed you the ones that are really good, really tasty, and I'll have those every so often. No trout in the rivers. Tons of trout here. Um, Especially in this region. Salento is famous for it, but you can get it all over the place in Armenia. Again, I was never a big trout lover to begin with. I mean, I don't hate it, but if there's, you show me a menu, there's going to be 10 things I like before I'm going to think about ordering that trout. I mean, you order up things that you like, right? The fries with that ribeye look like they were frozen. Nope. Nope. Oh, the second one. I think those were the small McDonald's looking one. In the photo, they came out looking white. They weren't white. I think that those were McCain frozen fries. You're right. The other one had the bigger that's me cooking. Yeah, I cheat once in a while. I don't feel like spending 3 hours in the kitchen sometimes, and maybe I only want to spend a half an hour. And so, maybe I'll throw something like that together. Um, I found it funny looking up those pictures because there was like French fries and 3 or 4 of those things. And so, people are going to watch that because this is the way it happens. Is they see that and they say, you're eating French fries all the time. No wonder you're fat. No, I'm fat for other reasons. But those French fries that you saw in that was the course of over a period of almost 4 years. I actually rarely eat them. I like French fries, but I don't. They have a potato here called Costco. It's more like it's like potato wedges, and if I'm out and that's an option that comes with the food, that's what I order. I can't remember the last time I've ordered French fries, and I usually don't make them at home. But I make potatoes at home, and I love potatoes, but I make home fries. Chop them up into little cubes. You fry them up. First, you cook a couple strips of bacon in the pan, and then you use that bacon fat. You throw the potatoes in, a little bit of salt, some green peppers, onion, maybe a little bit of garlic, and you fry those things up. First, you fry them to get a crust on them, and then you slow cook them, or you can reverse it. Either way works. And they come out really soft, delicious. Absolutely love them. That's my favorite way of making potatoes at home, and I'll do that a couple times a month. If you actually saw the way I ate, if you were to look in my kitchen and stuff, I eat kind of boring. But then I'll get an urge. But most of the time, eating is more of something you have to do. I don't know how to explain it, but you're busy and you just don't want to take up much time. So I'll always have on hand this liquid yogurt, almost always strawberry, and I'll have a glass of that. And I'll always have some fruit, lots of mandarins. I'll have that. I go through a fair amount of eggs. And so probably the thing I eat most is sunny side up, soft cooked eggs, crispy whites, but runny yolk. I have that probably 3-4 times a week, and sometimes I'll have it for dinner. Occasionally I'll have make up some tuna fish, but yeah. So what you see in these, I guess maybe the reason I pick them out is because it's not that common. Oh, another thing that's here that's typical, one of the pictures I couldn't find, is tongue. I love tongue, and I make tongue myself. Here, it's a lot of work. I probably made it twice in the 5 years here, but I love tongue. The problem is, most places you go here don't cook it enough. And it's chewy. It's like, I'm sorry I ordered it. But that El Roble place, I went with a friend and she ordered a tongue. And one picture you actually might have seen on the fork, the tip of it. She got a couple of the ribs and she gave me a piece of the tongue. Oh man, was it good. It was done to perfection. Highly recommend that place. If you want traditional food, it doesn't get better than that place. And it's why they've been in business for 40 some years. Missing seafood in Colombia. Yeah, I'm missing the seafood that I like. I really miss the kind of crab. Even snow crab would be welcome. Um, they have langostinos, and that's to me is better than lobster, so that's okay. But again, those are out of my budget. Those are something I only have maybe, I don't know, once every 2 or 3 months. Do you need adapters for electrical items from the USA, such as laptop chargers? No, I'm good. I'm good. Use 110. I must have missed that question. Oh, another contribution. Mr. Anonymous, thank you. I appreciate it. Can you get cod in Colombia? I have yet to see it. I haven't searched it. I did try to get haddock for a long time. You can go to PriceMart and you can get the haddock made in those pre-made fry patties or like adult fish sticks, but that would just be a big disappointment for me. And the reason I love haddock is upstate New York is famous for their fish fries. And their fish fries are big pieces of beer battered haddock about that thick, really flaky. They're almost sweet and a little sticky. That haddock is so freaking delicious, and I kind of miss those fish fries. We used to go every Friday. We'd buy up a bunch of them and go back to work and have those fish fries. They would have our favorites were we had a farmer's market. It was open on weekends. We'd drive over there, and they would have these fish fries to go only. And man, they were killer, and the prices were amazing. You get fish fry, you take most of it home for dinner that night. It was so massively big, but it was so delicious. And at the time, it was like $5 for the equivalent of 2 or 3 meals worth. They have battered haddock at Price Mark. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, but it's not what I want, and it would be disappointing. And if I could get haddock, just haddock, even if they had the fried or the frozen haddock, then I could make what it is I'm talking about. But the ones that they make, like what is it, Morton's, Jorton's, whatever, the fishermen, they're adult fish sticks, and I'm just not a big fan of that. Even in the coast, the mojara frita is just tilapia. Yeah, tilapia is big here, but the good thing is, in the U.S., once I learned about the tilapia and where it was coming from in China and how they were doing it, I quit eating tilapia. I liked it because it's kind of a neutral fish. But the tilapia here is all produced here in Colombia. So wherever you go, the tilapia, it's safe to eat and it's good. In my freezer, I have frozen tilapia fillets, and I almost always have those, and they're not real big. So if I'll take like 2 of them, fry them up with a little bit of butter and garlic, and I'll have that once in a while. So that's available. It's not like there's no seafood. It's just that my favorites, the crabs and the haddock, it's my favorites, and I can't get them. All right. So we got any questions? I don't know how you feel about the topic today. It just seems like I get that question a lot. I'm going to, before we wrap up, I'm going to run a list of my favorites. You can jot them down and put the title into Facebook, and that'll show you a map, and usually it'll have a menu. So I'm going to run through this. Have you started the citizenship process? I'm doing it in a couple months, but I'd like to know what's needed and what to expect. I have not started it. I'm not even sure if I'm going to, because they took some of the advantage away. Now it's only good for 5 years, where the retirement visa is good for 3 years, but not the citizenship, I'm sorry, the permanent residency. I'm eligible for that, and I'm not sure which I'm going. As far as the citizenship goes, I haven't even looked into that. Before, I wasn't going to bother, but I actually need to look into it now, because with the permanent residency now expiring every 5 years, now it's going to make sense to do the citizenship. But no, I really haven't gone into it yet. They have much closer to the coast, not just as much as someone would be used to. It's true. Do you eat typical French food? Thought I understood your mother was French. I'm actually a pretty good cook, and my favorite, and what I know most, and what I was actually trained on, is Italian. All the way from Sicily to northern Italy. I can cook a number of French dishes, and I'm good at the ones that I know. Most American foods. I know how. I lived in Japan 3 years, and I learned how to make the rice, which is the whole point of sushi. That's what it means, so with the rice vinegar and fluffing it and all that, I know how to do that. And Mexican, of course. Lived in California for a while, I've been to Mexico, I don't know, a dozen times. And of course, I've eaten at Taco Bell, so, it makes me an expert, but I cook Mexican. Not a lot of Colombian. I make chorizos, I'll make empanadas. I don't really do much else. My beans, I think, are superior to the beans I've had here. I love my beans. But yeah, I cook a little French. I was trout fishing in the rivers. Never been. I've fished in my life, but I don't know, never been. One thing is, I really hate mosquitoes passionately. And if you get out in the country, and if you're near a little river, it'll be a little lower elevation, hence being a river. And there's a good chance you're going to have some mosquitoes. I'm not a fan, so that alone would turn me off. But fishing is a thing here, so you can get gear and go fishing, and it's just not my thing. All right, let me run the list of these restaurants. Yes, the entire area of Milan. You can't go wrong there, and you're gonna find whatever you want. So, excuse me. So if you say, "Oh, what was that restaurant? What was that list? Can you show it again?" All you have to do is just go back and scroll to the end of the video, and you'll see it. So there's a list of good places. I did have Frisbee chicken, because it's like a KFC but homegrown. I think they do a really good job. I put El Corral, which is a fast food hamburger place basically, but it's really good, high quality, really well done. Doesn't seem like fast food. Burger 3, probably the best burger. If you order the Angus burger, it's probably the best burger in all of Armenia. So I had those fast food places. Some I didn't mention. Pani Chocolate is really good. Didn't have any photos. Boludos, I've been there a million times. A bunch of clips, could not find them. There you order the Argentina beef. Comes in 2 pieces, and it's absolutely delicious. Any Nepalese or Indian food in Armenia? Not that I'm aware of, but you can get all the spices, and I'll make I'll make various curries once in a while. I'll get a craving, and you can get them all the spices that you could want if you want to make it yourself. I do wish that there was a couple good Indian places, and if anybody's aware of any, I'm not. And most of what you find, particularly in a small place like Armenia, is when they do an international food, they very often will do it to the taste of what Colombia is, which means it won't taste like think Taco Bell. It won't be like a good representation of what it should be. So I would almost shudder about having Indian food here because of that. Chinese food, forget it. It's all just Colombian food with different names. It tends to be greasy. What was the thing that somebody asked me? Oh, Thai food. I don't know of any Thai restaurant, but I've seen on a number of menus under various types of Asian food, Thai dishes. So if you look under a Chinese menu, for example, you probably I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't see 1, 2, 3 Thai dishes listed there. I would say average. What was the place we had the burger with the spectacular view? I don't know. Where were we? Where do we have a burger? I don't remember having a burger with you. It's not John. I'm thinking of the other things, but I don't remember the burger. If I did, I would know where we were. But as far as spectacular, is restaurant selection here in Bucaramanga far outpaces Manizales. I don't know about that. However, I will say this. I found it hard to find places that had mediocre food. The food quality there, I think, exceeds most places in Colombia. So there's that. So no Indian, Nepalese people in Armenia. I have no idea if the people are here. I have no idea. I wouldn't necessarily say that, but you got to remember, Armenia is not even 300,000 people. That doesn't. I mean, you go to Manizales, Pareda, and I can't think of any offhand, but I'm sure that they have Indian restaurants there. It's not that they're unusual in Colombia. It's just we're such a small city, and you have to remember that if you're going to succeed in a restaurant, you need something that people are going to want to come and buy, and your customers in Armenia are going to be Colombians who have a traditional sense of food, and for the most part dislike anything spicy or picante, hot. So Indian food would have a hard time breaking in, and until people learn the food, how are you going to stay in business? So I would imagine that's comes to play to a lot of it. Now, in places like Bogota or Medellin, where you've got tens of thousands of international visitors, that can support a place like that. Or even Pareda, which is twice the size of here and has a fair amount of expats from various places in the world, that can support it. But here in Armenia, we're really a traditional place. Although it's grown a lot. I mean, you saw a lot of variation. For those who wonder why there's no good Mexican food in Colombia, answer: there's never been a massive migration of Mexicans to Colombia, ever like same as other kinds of food. Again, I'll say yes and no. There's some truth to that. That's half of the story. Tons of Colombians go to Mexico, visit. It's a favorite vacation place. They're very aware of Mexican food, and you can get Mexican food here. But again, they convert it to I mean, I'll use the U.S. as an example again. Getting Chinese food in the United States, for the most part, 90% of them, it's not really Chinese food. It's Americanized version of Chinese food. Chop suey is something never even existed. It was an American invention. Sushi, although that's changed a lot, but we go back 15, 20 years, it was almost impossible, unless you're in New York City or San Francisco or something like that, to get actual Japanese sushi. You got close, you got similar, but if you lived in Japan, you know what sushi is going to taste like, you take that and you say, well, it's something else. I mean, it looks like it, but it's something different. And even in the U.S., like I said, you got Del Taco, you got Taco Bell. These are Mexican, right? Well, not really. So all of those things are done because they want to stay in business. And so they take the idea of the food and they create it in a way that people want to frequent the restaurant so you can succeed. And then over the course of time, you'll start seeing it move along. Like right now, you can get really good sushi in a lot of places in the United States. There was a time when that wasn't true. So it evolves. 20 years ago here in Armenia, there was zero international food. There were zero hamburgers. It was all traditional. There were no options. Right now, you've got pizzas, and 3/4 of the pizzas you wouldn't recognize as being a good pizza, but they love it because it's all cheese. They could care less about the crust. However, there's a lot of places here now that make really good pizza. And the one that I mentioned there, Basilica, on that list, they make really good handmade Italian style in the wood-fired oven kind of thing. So, that's what's going on here. When you look at Armenia, you have to, put it in the context. Is there Mexican food? Again, if you want to make Mexican food, you can order it. You've got a number of Mexican restaurants here, varying from it's not bad to what a disappointment. I think my biggest disappointment of Mexican food here in Armenia is enchiladas. I really miss good enchilada sauce. And I know how to make it. I just, it takes time. You gather up the stuff and put the time into it. Yeah, maybe one of these days I'll do it. These aren't front of mind, and your life is busy with what you got on your plate today. So there's that. We have any other questions? So, Mark, Turtle, you guys aren't wrong. I just thought I would flesh it out with my opinion of that situation. All right, that's it. And we're over time, so we're going to end it here. I'm curious what you think of that particular topic. I've kind of avoided going into that depth, but it seems it's something people want to know about. I would appreciate any emails that you could, did I hit the mark, or, was it too much? Thank you again for the contributions. I greatly appreciate it. The background will appreciate it. And I will see you next week.
Wow.